Hi guys, my name's John and I like to scratch build miniature things. And in this video I'm going to show how I made the Lion's Pride Inn from World of Warcraft. So this is a game I played back, well, starting in 2004, and then I kind of played it on and off for about 11 years. As I'm a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons and anything sort of fantasy related, and absolutely loved this World of Warcraft, hence the reason why I played it for so long. And anyone who's into D&D will know every great adventure starts in a tavern. So that's why I thought I'd have a go at making this one. So let's go back to 2004 and where it all began. So for the build I'm going to use these large wooden sort of base plates. I've got some modelling clay and some plastic card, which I'm going to use for most of the build, as well as loads of bits of balsa wood. I've got a variety of sizes of this, and this is nice and easy to cut. Some good old super glue to stick it all together. So normally when I make something I use reference photos, or sometimes I have to go drawing something that I want to build, but in this case I can just go into the game and I can measure out how big this thing is by using my little character and having him just basically walk around it. And then each of his steps I then transfer into a different sort of size, and then that's how I can build it. Simples. So I've roughly drawn out the size of obviously the building. I have changed it a little bit, only because the original one is quite a long sort of build and it wouldn't quite fit on this sort of round base very well. So I have shortened the back just a little bit. And then using the larger bits of balsa wood, I've kind of stuck a few bits together. Again, yeah, this stuff's nice and easy to use. I don't really use it as often as I probably should do, because it isn't that cheap. It's quite expensive, but as I say, it cuts quite easily, and obviously it can be sanded, drilled, and as you can see, you can sort of like scrape bits out, which is pretty cool. So initially this first bit, I actually did this wrong. I've kind of like shaving off the corner edge, when in fact it should just be each of the sides I need to corner off, or shave off. So yeah, so this one I kind of messed up, but luckily I did have enough left to do 5 proper. So this time I'm shaving the correct bits off. Obviously, yeah, as we learn by our mistakes, and yeah, any mistakes I make when I build stuff, guys, I do kind of leave them in, just so you can sort of see what I've done and my error of my ways. But yeah, so this stuff is really soft, so it really is easy just to scrape away with, well, with a small, obviously but sharp, little blade. So yeah, so I'm getting a rough sort of shape by this, and yeah, I make 5 of these in total, and then I've got them stuck down in all the corners they need to go. So for the walls I'm basically going to use the plastic card again because it's nice and thin, lightweight, and obviously easy to cut. So this stuff isn't too expensive, and you can buy sort of packs of 12 or so. Most of the stuff I buy is from Amazon. I will leave links to everything that I've been using in the video. So yeah, by all means guys, go and give them things a click. Just because I'm an affiliate with Amazon, it doesn't cost you any more, but every time you buy something, I get a couple of pence from it, which obviously then helps me buy more materials to make more things with. So yeah, so I'm not too sure how high this thing's going to be, because obviously I couldn't use my little man to measure the height. So the height, I'm basically sort of gauging off how long it is, and taking sort of obviously reference sort of shots from that. So yeah, basically just cutting up all the sides to go round this little building. And I'm going to work obviously on the sort of the ground floor first, because the top floor is actually sort of like leaning outwards, which is quite cool because it makes the building look a bit more quirky. So that's the ground floor all done, and just before I go on to the top floor, I'm going to make the bricks that go around like the base of this. And for this I'm going to be using this air drying modelling clay. It's something I haven't really used before, but basically I like to try new things out, because unless you try it you won't know exactly what it's like, and if it is pretty good, then obviously that's something that you'd use more often. So I've also got this roller, which obviously imprints the pattern of stones, which is pretty cool. Again, this was from Amazon, guys, so yeah, I'll leave the link in the description. So rolling it out, obviously you get a nice simple brick effect very quickly. So I've done that for all the bits, and then I can let that dry while I then carry on and do the rest of the build. So as well as being easy to cut, the balsa wood also comes in a whole variety of thicknesses and shapes, and obviously lengths. So yes, I've got lots of pieces. I did buy a big bag, I think, and it basically had loads of sort of lengths and sizes, which is pretty cool. So you might well see more builds with this material. Basically, I don't want to limit myself to what materials I use. So each time I build something, I am going to have a go at using, well, whatever's best really, best suited for that sort of build. So the air drying clay, it's kind of drying, but it's taking a long time. So rather than wait sort of a good 24 hours or more, I've kind of cheated and I've gone ahead and I've used some oven drying clay. Done the same sort of thing, used my roller to roll over the things, and then basically, yeah, you put it in the oven and obviously it then goes rock hard in about 15 minutes, which is pretty cool. So I'm sort of slicing it into sort of lengths, just because obviously it's not meant to be this sort of wide at the bottom of the building. But yeah, again, I'm really pleased with how the brickwork comes out on this stuff so quickly and just so easily. So yeah, so back to the normal build, or the main build. It is just a case of continually going around, cutting up the bits of balsa wood and gluing them where they need to go. So say it's quite a quick build this, because say this stuff is easy to cut, so you can sort of rush through, well not rush through, but you can go through this bit quite quickly. And then yeah, all my little brickworks, well I did then realise that I'd cut it too thin, so I'm using sort of like a double height of this stuff. But again, that works quite well with the bricks, because obviously it then just alternates how it looks, and it'll look more sort of brickwork and more like it's been made by someone, I guess. And there we go, it's double heighted all the way around, so I'm really pleased with how this is coming out. For the edges of these, the corner bits, I didn't have any really thin balsa wood, and the fact that it had to sort of like bend, so I thought I'd have a go at using these the plastic rods that I've got, just because obviously they bend and will form whatever shape I need. Plus once it's all painted, you won't obviously realise that this isn't wood, because everything will get painted, well, brown basically. This is another example of basically using the best thing for that sort of job. When things get painted at the very end, it doesn't really matter what you use, you can paint it to make it look like something else anyway. So using some more of the plastic card, I've cut out the shapes that I need to make the sort of the top half. And as you can see, they're all leaning outwards, which I think gives this sort of in quite a quirky sort of look, as it looks like the top is going to sort of like tumble out. So then using some more of the balsa wood, it's basically to go all around this building now and make all like the cross beams and cross members and, well, whatever other technical terms they're meant to be called, that basically helps keep this building up. So for the super glue I use, I recently bought these little extension bits you go on the end of the nozzle, which are great because obviously then you get a nice thinner stream and you can really get the glue into all the nooks and crannies or wherever it is you need to get into basically. So I'm actually using now some lollipop sticks that I cut for these bits. Not as easy to cut as the balsa wood, but you can obviously still cut them reasonably well. And then yeah, it's just a case of going around cutting all the bits up, and in this case I'm cutting up some balsa wood, but to make some smaller bits, because these were the smallest bits that I actually brought, but you can then cut them up into quarters just to make some more smaller bits. So I say guys, if you haven't used balsa wood before, I would definitely highly recommend it, as it is such a versatile and easy material to use and obviously cut up. So I've left this little gap here because this is where the chimney is going to go. And again, using them bits that I've made earlier, I can just cut them to the required size and then glue them in place. So it's a good job this balsa wood is easy to cut, because I am using loads of this all over this build, especially as in cutting it up to make even smaller bits to go round. Because obviously, as you'll see the very end, or you might see in the very beginning, in the final build, that there are a lot of these little cross members and cross beams. So yeah, having something that is easy to cut is ideal. And there we go. So I've kind of like finished the front bit off, and now I just got to go around the whole of the rest of it, doing exactly the same basically. But before we do that, let's get onto the roof, just sort of make it look like it's more sort of complete. And again, more of the plastic card, because this is nice, lightweight, thin stuff, and it'll sort of curve to whatever you need it. And again, obviously easy to cut. So basically having everything easy to cut is great, because then I only need the one tool of my little sharp blade to be able to cut everything down. And then all the roof panels can just be glued into place, just like everything else basically. Again, I like using super glue just because it is a nice quick sort of medium to get everything stuck down. I mean, you probably could use PVA glue, but obviously when you use that it does take a long time to dry. And there we go, so that's all the roof bits done. Obviously there's a bit that's curved over, which is pretty cool, and I finished off the rest of the chimney. So now just to make the tiles that are going to go on top of the this little building, and yeah, it's basically just a case of cutting out hundreds and hundreds of these small little things, and there we go, there's quite a few there, although I did end up using about 3 times more than this. And yeah, I am basically going to be gluing each one on individually. I did try and work out or have a think about how I could make the shingles that go on top of the roof, and the only way that I could really think of to make them look like they were individual shingles, yeah, was to basically make individual shingles. So as you probably might know from quite a few of my previous builds, I really don't mind doing these sort of like long, laborious sort of tasks, and if anything, I find them very therapeutic. So when I'm building something, it is quite nice to do something that is repetitive and small like this, especially knowing that the end result is definitely worth it. So this next bit probably took a good few hours to do, so obviously I won't be doing all 2 hours of me doing this, because that will make you fall asleep. So about 3 hours later, and we're nearly done, and there we go. And so I think it's definitely worth doing this sort of thing, because they do come out looking like obviously individual shingles, which is perfect. So I've left this side empty, as this side has a few windows in it. I didn't want to put the shingles on it and then try and attach the windows on top. So I'm going to do the windows first, and then I can finish off the rest of the tiling on it. And there we go. Just when you thought you'd finished doing the tiling, we need loads more tiles. So here's the rest of the tiles, just to complete the roof and finish it all off. And then it's back to doing more of the beams, so more cutting up with the balsa wood, more sticking and gluing basically, and yeah, just keep doing this until it's all complete. So I'd just like to take this moment to thank all my patrons for helping support the channel. As many of you might be aware, obviously YouTube is quite funny when it comes to recommending videos. 1 minute you're the golden child and get lots of views, and the next minute it kind of forgets about you. So obviously I can't rely on YouTube to help fund the channel and to obviously help me buy more and more materials to keep making these kind of projects. So yes, it does come down to you guys, you patrons, that really are sort of supporting me with your monthly donations. That does help me continue to make this channel and keep making things. So yeah, much appreciation guys. If you want to help the channel out, there is a link down below, and I'll leave a link at the end of the video just showing how you can come and Patreon and support the channel so I can keep making things. Cheers guys. That's all the beams done now. So what I want to do now is just to rough up the balsa wood, just to give it a bit more of a sort of like a grainier, textured sort of bit of wood basically. Just because when I do paint this as well, the paint will go in the grooves and it will cover up some of this. But yeah, it's a good old balsa wood. I can use my sharp little tool and make some scratches in it that will then look like it's sort of rough timber. So yeah, awesome stuff, balsa wood. I can't sort of praise it enough, I don't think, even though I don't really use it much. But maybe now I will start using it more. And then once that's all done, I'm going to spray paint the whole thing in a white primer, just because this will help me then go to paint it. I mean, I could have possibly have painted the balsa wood with paint straight away, but because obviously I've stuck these white bits on the edges of the wood on the corner bits, I kind of needed to spray paint it first, just to make sure that it would all look the same once painted. So as I have got a nice new cutting mat, which I don't want to get too dirty, yeah, I'm going to use this bit of cardboard just to sort of go underneath it, so any mess from the paint will go on that and not my nice new cutting mat. Obviously I appreciate my cutting mat will eventually get dirty and yeah, have bits on it, but I'm going to try not to get it too dirty too quick basically, just because I do like a nice clean area. So yeah, obviously with the painting, it's a very simple sort of painting this build. I'm going to keep it just similar to the original one as possible, and obviously that is the case of painting the wood brown. The roof tiles are going to be a blue, and the walls, well, the walls are kind of like an off-white, so I wasn't too sure whether I was going to leave the walls white as they are or go over them with paint just to make them look a little bit sort of dirtier. But as you'll see later on, I do actually end up going over the walls just because I kind of get a few bits of the paint from the brown and the blue on the roof on the walls. So it just made more sense to cover the whole thing up again, just make it look a bit neater and tidier basically. So I really am pleased with how this brickwork came out. Very effective, very easy to do. Yeah, so for bricks, basically, I painted them grey, and then I'm going to add this black wash, which I'm obviously doing now. I'll dab some of that off just so it's not too on there, but obviously it'll leave it in the nooks and crannies just to make the grout look a bit darker and to sort of obviously highlight the fact there are bricks. But yeah, really simple, really easy, and very pleased with how this has come out. So guys, if you are new here and you like what I do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, as I do try and produce a video every week. That doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does, and sometimes I do 2 videos in a week. So yeah, if you enjoy what I do guys, hit that subscribe button. So when the roof dried, it kind of went a bit too light. Basically I put quite a lot of water in with the blue, just obviously like dilute it down a bit. So the brush I'm actually using to paint this is quite a stiff bristled one. So basically I'm getting loads of paint on and then obviously finishing it all off by sort of dragging it downwards. And this just helps put a few lines in the tiles just to make it look a bit more like tile-like. So when I was first deciding how to build this, I had considered cutting these windows open and putting some LEDs inside and then some yellow plastic sheets over the windows so it'd have that glow. As you can see, obviously I didn't do that idea, so instead I'm just going to paint all the windows a yellow just to make it look like there is someone in there. Well, the lights are on but no one's in. And then say with the walls, I've basically got this kind of like, well, it's not grey, it's not white, it's not yellow. I'm really not too sure what this colour is. It's kind of definitely an off-whitish colour. And yeah, I'm going to use that to go around and paint all the walls just to tidy them all up. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how this is coming out now. So the last sort of thing to really do is I'm going to put some flocking on this and obviously some fake grass. But it's easier to do that, or better to do that, when the base is a green. Just in case you do see through the grass, you don't really want to see it being white. So putting a green at the bottom, or even a brown for the dirt would be fine. But in this case, I wanted to use green, just so it looked like it was a nice sort of green patch of grass on the outside of this building, basically. So one thing I nearly had forgot to do was just at the front of this building, obviously there's like a pebble or stone path going out. So I'm going to use some green stuff, just because obviously that's nice and quick to dry. And yeah, I'm just going to put that out the front, soften it down, and then I'm going to try and sort of put some indentations into this, just so it kind of looks like it could be stones or pebbles, just to make some sort of pathway. So I put a thin layer of PVA glue all over the base, and now I'm ready to get my flocking tool out. So this is the stuff that I'm using, the grass, and again both the grass and the flocking tool, all from Amazon. As you'll probably hear and see in all my videos, everything I buy is Amazon. Just like I love their next day delivery. So again guys, there'll be links down below to everything that I use. And yeah, let's get flocking. That's it, that's all complete now. Roll VT and let's see those glamour shots. Hope you enjoyed the video guys. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And that's it. Bye for now.